and George Weah are the only two people. What about the Tewan Gonglo? What about the female Simeon Freeman? What about the female presidential candidate? Sarah Besu Nyanti. Where are the Tudors? The Wapos and the rest of them. Oh yes, everyone needs to go to the polls and elect a new set of leaders for our country. But those who are coming against him will fall. In my Prince Johnson voice, he said, anybody who comes against Joshua will fall. But I don't know whether Prince Johnson will fall to, because he was a preacher man. He was a political messiah that made comments that anyone coming against Joshua in this election will fall. Now he's going against Joshua. Will he be a failure? Roland Dewey is contesting against him on the CDC ticket. While Joshua moves into the southeast amidst the bar roads, he's challenging the odds, going to other counties to campaign. Oh yes. My name is Jala Emmanuel Nikki. Kalifagara Kiang Malak Blinyale want to Gazuma. Nang po Quila Davatema Jabapunu Samashan Greyfield. I'm here till 6 o'clock. Let me pause ready and invite the President of God. That's what we do every day. Ask one of the language announcers to come and pray for just for a minute in their dialect, asking for God's protection upon our country, His protection upon our leaders, the President, His Vice President, and everyone elected, appointed officials of government, and all Liberians. And that's how we do here every day. We'll go to Gioland and ask the civilized Gioland to pray for us. Sabasino, bravo.
Ba, abi yusupu, onegu, ba gusa mongu, ba shokare, ba sui pite kai moyi direba yusupu. Abi kengezire ayi ebe ya ganko glu. Bi abi kai me dole pai platire to me doe yaro no dina kai ya serege asika ashrenkere abi kai gotabo kai to en ka va. Wasare doya kenga no ya kengezire gusu godo ka Jesus to gebo ko se re abi bosan tobo. Me sare yo ka se ibe ka gibe leader. Meturo wa me ka ashrenkere ka ko se sin ko gwe abi boye yepo. Meturo de mo ya re so pie no kengezire ke abi me abosan ka to en ka va. Iye o sare apaka ben kan be bi e bere ko ko jara mo gi meti e wa no se kan wa no yo ka idu apo wa ka to en ka fa ibe so ba ko ba na Jesus to amen
Jesus to amen. That's how we say in Jesus' name in the Dan vernacular where the Mesa Basinoa comes from. Let's go to PCK as we cross it all and welcome our guest, a former Montserrat County senatorial aspirant, or candidate, I would say, one-time deputy minister for manpower development at the Ministry of Labor. He resigned his position to contest in the race after President George Weah went for the presidency. A vacuum was created. Went for the race. He's further to serve. He cannot be the side Joseph and others always on the front burner. He said, I'll resign my position. That I respect him for. He's been silent for some time now. He thought to break silence today and tell us where he belongs now, where he goes. He was member of the CDC, but he went solo. And is he making a comeback? Where is he headed right now? Phil Tabet Dixon is my guest. On the flip side of 5 o'clock, is he's an economist. Mr. Colinas Weah will join me. He's an economist. We're going to look at the numbers game, and the gains the government has made on the George Weah in terms of fulfilling the IMF quota of what they live in, the World Bank and all those other stuff, the stability in the exchange rate and all of those will be looked at when the Mewia comes in. You can afford to go away. Remember Jala Griffith chapter 1 verse 1. Let's talk and talk and talk, and never shall we fight. Fighting shall never be our portion. Nevin Koka Yengao. Johnny Peka Yenga. Papa Kolega Yenga Nanga. The Meka Kwao. The sovereign is asking God to protect the leaders of our country. His Excellency Ambassador Dr. George Weah, the Vice President is Swakoko Mayutu Awatila, the Speaker of the House of Representatives Dr. Bova Chambers, the President Albert Chi, all Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, and supporting the courts in our country. Where is the first female Muslim judge in Liberia? Amina Jabata Salif, how are you this afternoon, my friend? She's a religious listener to the show. My young brother and friend Nathaniel Saki, he is an accountant at the BCTC in Bangabon County. He celebrates his birthday today. Nathaniel Saki, I dedicate this program to you and hope you're having a good time in Banga. And just tell the guy there at the Poma, Mr. Paul Tobacco Sale, that my brother sent me, give him 2 bottles of wine, and then you have a good day for yourself. When I come Banga, the bills will be written. Let me welcome Jeremiah Kule, watching from Mississippi Streets, Greenville, Sando County. Adi Vam, watching from New Georgia Community. Clarence S. Joe has joined me. Johnson S. Bina has joined me. Otis T. Toll has joined me from Zulu Westgate, Grand Junior County. Amina Jabate Salif, how are you? President Sagiko George, criminal Kudi, the criminals in the country. God, no nonsense, George. Let me come now to say welcome to you who have joined us. Please share the video so that others can follow us. It's important to do so because once it is a nation's energy, the microphone keeps being busy. Mr. Phil Tabet Dixon is my guest. I said earlier, he has been so well known for a very long time. We started advocates at children in this country in the 1990s, after 1990 rather, 1992, on the original Allison, Kimmy Wilson on board, the like of Benjamin Sandy, we all started this thing together, and the like of Lake Prince Collins, Patience and Penny was one of our child broadcasters at Talking Drum Studio when we formed the Golden Kids News. Kimmy Wilson was there, and a lot of guys many of them came along. Nev Mutada, yes, and all of those Ase, and also we come a long way, and Phil is here. He is sought to be a lawyer by profession. He led the broadcast and the advocates of us, and we've been in there for a long time. And this just makes Max 26 years since I started this work. So we age in it. Sometimes we take the mantle of authority to other people to come in. But Phil, how are you this afternoon?
It's great, and when you're sitting before a familiar face, it makes you comfortable. I'm also a person hoping that the peace that I have continues to be the peace of Liberia. And I think that is very important in our country, preserving the peace.
Yeah, you talk about peace, preserving the peace, but there was this disturbing news coming from Lofa County, where kingsmen of the same tradition were at each other's throat. 2 persons were feared dead, and I saw those footages coming from Lofa County. I felt so disturbed. What do you make of what happened in Lofa? Just in a minute, 30 seconds, I will go to the meat of our discussion.
So before going further, and let me speak to the people of Lofa County as a person who is just a fair observer without any other pre-existing notion. They need to understand that these elections are not the end of Liberia. I know there are some people who say it's the end of Liberia, but no, it's not the end of Liberia, regardless of the outcome. And if they want to know why, let me just say to them. So you have there individuals who, despite the fact they have different political lineages or badges at this moment, they share political lineages in common. So nobody should think that if one person comes in charge is going to bring heaven into Lofa or is going to bring something else into Lofa. look at the senatorial candidates. The present Senator Steve Zago was once a member of the CDC. He, of course, was a member of the CDC.
Tell me.
He went to the CDC primaries in 2011.
Wow.
And he was denied by Vafi.
Okay.
That's why he shifted over to Liberty Party. So there's a history that he has with the CDC.
Okay.
You look at Kotima. Kotima has contested the CDC ticket. He has contested the UP ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Honorable Colley, who is the present CDC candidate,
Was from the
Unity Party.
He crossed over to CDC.
So if I see them going at loggerheads with each other, when in fact their leaders who they are fighting for see no problem hugging the person on the other side of the equation, then I think that they are actually discounting the value of their own existence while aggregating or increasing the value of others. They need to be calm. They need to understand that they are there for their family, for their children. And after these elections, there will still be a Liberia. I think that's a very important thing for the people of Lofa to keep in mind.
Now, you remind me of things far apart. When Chino Achebe wrote in his book, do not fight for your gods.
Yeah.
Let the gods fight for you.
Of course. That's very important. You see,
I know you were speaking to the people of Umofia.
Yeah.
Where men took all their land,
Yeah.
and then they were, trying to
because there was this
convert them
debate
from
between the biblical order and the traditional order.
Mhm.
And I think that people have to understand this also in Lofa County. Whoever tells you to harm your neighbor is not your friend. Because day after tomorrow, when you disagree with them, they will tell another neighbor to harm you.
Mhm.
So they need to understand that people can be of different views and eat in the same table.
And having said that, Phil, let me now ask you,
Yeah.
why have you been silent for this long? You contested as an independent candidate in the last election that brought Sir Joseph to power when Joshua relinquished that position to be president. And you were an active participant in politics here with the CDC, but you went solo when as an independent candidate. Now you have come to break silence. Let's hear you. Where are you headed?
So let me say things in small change in information. So I contested when Thomas Fowler was contesting.
Okay, that's true. So sorry for that.
When I left the government in August of 2023, I went with the intention of giving the people of Monsovalo County a choice.
Okay.
For you, for Vigor, and what I believe was a proper understanding of the legislative duties and functions.
Okay.
The people of Monserrado made a different decision. And I felt on my own part that part of the reasons why I wasn't selected was I did not have the backing of one political institution. And I also believe that part of the reason why one political institution did not win was because they did not choose me.
Okay.
Yeah. So both of us left the elections disappointed, I should say.
And do you think it either hurt your political institution for losing the election, not selecting you, and Thomas Fowler being a loser?
Yeah, of course. Every political party feels like when they lose an election. It doesn't really matter whether it's a small election, even if it's community chairman. If a political party supports someone community chairman and the person loses, particularly if the new person does not come on board, that political institution feels aggrieved. So afterwards, I decided to sit back, give attention to professional duties, my regular consultancy and legal things. But as this year has continued, over and over, I've been met by a number of colleagues and number of followers, as you see, persons from the social,
from different political parties.
Of course, I've engaged with leaders of multiple political parties.
Okay.
And I will even say that I've divided the Liberia political scene into three aspects.
Okay. What are they?
You have the governing party, and people tend to think that the opposition is one broad stroke. No, it's not true.
Wow.
You have the former governing party, and then the other opposition. And the reason is there are certain things that one of them can say with sincerity while the other cannot. So people who are in the rest of the opposition can talk of new vision and so on. But those who are from the former governing party cannot be discussing new vision.
Why do you think so? They don't have a stake?
No, they can't discuss new vision. They must first account for the substance of their years they spent in office.
They should give an answer to the Liberian people.
Answer the Liberian people. So just like the CDC has to answer for 6 years, the former governing party still has to answer for her 12 years she spent in office.
So you think they are unfit to be in this political discussion?
In my thought, they still have not sufficiently answered some of the questions. And this is something that I think they only have themselves to blame. When you look at where things are now, we have been able to see that the former governing party has allowed this president to be distinguished by several things that he himself has done but they did not do.
Okay.
And I would like to talk about tolerance. And when I start tolerance, Jana, you were in Monrovia, and I was in Monrovia. There was a time there was a lady who was city mayor of Monrovia called Mary Brewer.
Mm-hmm.
She carried on a city beautification project. What was one of the things she did? She broke George Weah's statue down at Gurley Street.
Mm-hmm.
Today, that lady is still in his government.
What does that signify?
It signifies that he is not concerned about his personal feelings,
Mm-hmm.
but rather has on mind a bigger scope. And I tell you, there were many of us in the cities who objected to some of those who were out there. But he was always a moderating voice and saying, these are all Liberians. I'm president for all Liberians, not only the Liberians that voted for me. And that is why part of the reason I felt it was urgent to come and speak. I was disappointed by the statement made by the political leader Snowbarrow of the Unity
But
Party.
before you go there,
I was disappointed.
were you disappointed
Mhm.
when Maryborough as a person was retained by the government of George Weah after you said she did to George Weah yesterday, and out of courtesy and out of he said, well, one of those, she's a Liberian, I can retain her because she's working hard and she has done some good thing for our country. Were you disappointed, or you hailed him for being tolerant?
So what I decided to do on that was to allow circumstances to resolve themselves rather than having a particular thought on it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like we should give her a chance to become a valued member of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Has she brought value to the team?
I think she has become a great member of the team. And to add to this tolerance, you're in Liberia to the United Party, the government. When a person is asked to serve from a political party that is in opposition, every month there's a time frame that they're expected to go on air, and you saw the previous political party. We saw it here with my professional colleague Jackson, Isaac Jackson. Every month, Isaac Jackson has to go on air at least one time to say something bad or negative about Charles Bromsky or about other opposition figures. Not one day have I heard the president compelling any of the persons he kept from the Unity Party-led government to go on radio to either attack the Unity Party current leadership or its previous leadership. I think this is the type of sign that shows that our country is not going to be a nation of hate under George Weah. There might be other things, but hate is not one of them. And I think we need to start reducing some of the evils in society. And to reduce hate is a key element of the George Weah story that I'm very much appreciative of.
All right, let me recognize some of the guys who joined us. I'll come back. Laura Sarah Farr is joining me from somewhere in Liberia. Masale S. Ibrahim has joined me. Aaron Zane is joining me. Political Cooper passed away. Is following the show. Omer Momo Manfrank in the USA is following the show. Stephen Fala has joined me from somewhere in Ghana's. Mohammed S. Kamara is joining me. Chris Silly has joined me. And Prince T. Weah is joining me. Otis T. Toll has joined me. Johnson S. Bena is also following me. Alaska Pay, Washington Rehab, welcome to the show. Now, having said those, now, what you're saying here, it tells me that you're leaning so close back to your political home, which is the CDC.
Yeah. And I have to lean to the CDC because there are certain statements that people make. It gets people to be on what should I say, on the alert.
Okay.
So, for instance, a statement was made about having, quote unquote, a small government and removing from in office the people that the CDC added to government. come with these guys.
And those are attributed to the former vice president.
Yeah, those guys and myself, we struggled for 12 years together. In my mind, if the Unity Party had a chance to add 70,000 persons on a payroll of Liberia, while removing or downsizing 15,000, I think with George Weah being equally president, it was within his right to add that limited number of persons, somewhere around 10,000 persons, many of whom are just at the ordinary menial grades of service. And when you talk about removing these people on a payroll, some of these people joined the CDC because I did. Some of these people were recommended to certain places by people like me. I accepted recommendation from others, I accept recommendation to others. So whenever you say that, you are saying that those 12 years of our existence meant nothing, whether to the history of this country or to the professional things of these people. Some of those people have become degree holders. And you tell me you are going to come into office and remove them from office. And
so this seems not to be different from what was said after the United Party convention in Bangabong County, where when they returned, Madam Sali said it's about time to employ United Party people. Then they came to downsize and right-sizing people. Do you think the former vice president is driving towards that?
I think the former vice president is telling us that it's going to be his agenda 1. It's not even going to be agenda 2. At least there were other
people dismissed from government.
Have people dismissed from government. That was how and let me be clear, I don't have any issue with somebody changing presidential appointees. We serve as will and pleasure of the president. And even when I was serving as presidential appointee, I told somebody the president has a dream, and maybe I slapped Timothy Weah in a dream. That's it. It's a prerogative. It needs no explanation to anybody to change. But people who are ordinary rank and file employees, I think they ought to be protected. Because you see, continuity and collective responsibility is an important and critical element of democratic governance. You must be aware that there is a responsibility for others. And I hear that there's some people complain, they say because of these added people, professional salary reduced. Okay. So if people are not concerned about the fact that they are planning to increase hardship for others. So it's like they are happy if some people are in poverty, just if they can be more rich, they and their friends.
Okay.
And I think that if the issue here is comfort and survivability, our country is still in a stage where we are thinking about comfort and survivability. We are not a middle income country yet that has so many options available for people. So with all of these things, I am of the opinion that the story of the CDC that contributed to in the past is one that ought to be willing to give attention to. And just interestingly, before you come with your comment, this is my last time I will have to vote for George Weah. I started voting for him from 2005.
Okay.
It has been 6 times. Let me just finish this thing, Jala.
I want to really end with this one. Let me recognize some of the guys again. Justice D. Baker, watching me from Maryland County, Plebo Southern District. Alex Tayo is watching me from somewhere in Grand Crew County. Opi Oni Johnson has joined me from the Bureau, the Veteran Bureau. Aaron Sin has joined me. Amos Estama Jr. has joined me. Venus Sipley, watching from Cinco Airfields. Venus Sipley. Crazy, as I read a comment earlier, and I read Stephen S. Fowler's comment. Let me say welcome to you. But I'm still thinking, had they failed Tabedison, see it coming, to have relinquished your job, to resign for what many people call very, very, very lucrative job as a deputy minister for Manpower Development and Ministry, to take what is referred as a risk, because election, you're not confident, everybody is confident, but the decision is being made by the people who are your employers. So how was it like leaving such a job as deputy minister, making decisions in the ministry and settling for a risky job like for senator, which he did not win?
So this is my view of it. I'm willing to accept the potential of hardship if I believe that the person I'm supporting deserves to win.
Okay.
So that explains why, for instance, I accepted to spend 12 years in opposition supporting the CDC, because I believe that the person who I was supporting, George Manawia, deserved to win. In this case, in 2020, I believe that I deserve to win. And consequently, if I could give, withhold the possibility of certain level of satisfaction in level of prospects because of him, I thought and I believe it was just fair to do the same for myself. Additionally, when you have a person who does things with some level of decency and quality output in a professional career, you tend to realize that there would always be offers. So you can take a step from one place to another, knowing that there will be offers, professional and otherwise, and you will still have your chance to pick. So, come have been comfortable throughout the process of my 3 years outside of government. As I said once, my children now attend a more expensive school than they did when
in government.
When I was in government. If there's any sacrifice to be made, I make the sacrifice, but the well-being of my children is done. And perhaps one of the things that was of great blessing to me, there are actually two things. You know, when we're in opposition between 2005 to 2011, I was a staff at the Capitol building with a lawmaker. And every day I went to work, I carried a copy of the letterhead in the back of my bag, just in case my boss decides to join the Unity Party while I'm away for a year. I just passed the World Trade Center and tap it.
And submit
my resignation. So
who was your boss at the time?
One of Victoria A. Lynch.
Okay, Lynch.
Yeah, so fortunately, she didn't do it. So I didn't have to do that. So every day I've worked, for the longest period of work that I had, I went to work with the possibility that it would be my last day of work. So when I entered government as deputy minister, it wasn't too difficult to have that same perspective. So all that I did was, every day that I came to work, I put my fullest in, to the extent that even after I left, whether it's in government or outside government, people still call me and say, Phil, what's your thoughts on this? What's your advice on this? And I tell you, even if I don't like you and you call me to ask me for advice, it's on something that is within my knowledge. I will share with you that advice. And going back in time, will I undo that decision? No, I won't undo it. And I'm happy that I'm from a political family that we all have sat together. And something that people will be wondering, Phil, there were issues that you had with how things were going that caused you to take that step of suspending much of the CDC. I tell you, the CDC was very fair to me. It didn't promise me that, Phil, everything is solved. What was told me was, Phil, we believe that we need you to solve some of the problems that you saw. And if you are not present in being a part of the solution, how can we even know if we are giving attention to your priorities? So those who are present with us solving problems is going to be the priorities that will be solved. And I thought that was a very fair statement, because anybody can just come up and say everything is okay. But CDC said, no, Phil, all is not well. And some of the reason why things are not well is because you were not here. You had your part of the win. Your absence caused a gap.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you say things
you
are not
provided some professional advice,
some professional guidance, there were some young people in government who needed mentoring and you are not available. So you can't be here and complain about some things not being well. You have to accept that you too have a part to play by your absence. And if you are involved in getting things together, we can work together and make things better. I thought that was a very fair position. And I believe it's something that serves as a starting point for work.
If you just join us, this is the program, The Bumper Show, and I'm the Bumper Man this afternoon. My name is Jala Greenfield. Phil Talbot Dixon is my guest. Let me recognize some of the guys, and I come back. I want to ask him his own perception about the governance process. Many people think that George Weah should not be given a chance to lead again. I listened to the political leader of the ANC, Alexander Cummings, yesterday when he had a lunch yesterday or so, and he said it's not time to give Georgia another chance because he has performed not very well, and you choose me to be your next president. Those were his words. Now, what do you think this government has done? Georgia has done. He needs to be re-elected. That's the next question I'm coming to. But let me recognize Mr. Alex Atayo watching from somewhere. Nathaniel Gabo is watching me from Atlanta, the USA. Nathaniel Gabo, welcome. Chris Silly watching me from Doe Administrative District, Capital City, Nima County. A grandson of the late chief actor Bogo Silly from Z number 1 district. Samuel Civil Laws Knight II is joining me. Veteran Ramsey has joined me. G. Samson Gamble has joined me. He said, what a good, he said, few points are salient. Also, Jahara is watching me from Simport Bridge. Augustine Cover Bien, great leader, he said to Phil Dixon. Zeze Mulba, JNG, I'm watching you from Lofa County, Little Sioux Town. Welcome to Liberia, to Monrovia, sir, for Little Sioux Town. Paul Kemin Kekula, I'm watching live from Tudota Salada District, where an acclaimed and distinguished young man in William Telebo Thompson is poised to become the next representative. Christian G. Davis, Christian C. Davis is watching me. Ambassador Asa Wilson has joined me from somewhere. Good afternoon, Jala leader Phil Dixon. I joined a conversation from the office of the Soul of Phil movement in Liberia. Kwe Moan Jacob is joining me as well from somewhere in Monrovia. J. Mohammed Kiazula is joining me. Christian C. Davis joining me from China. Courage Mobile. My name is Courage Moses watching from Mount Buckley. Thanks. Signe Crabo is watching me from Philadelphia. I'm astonished watching me from Thailand. Having George watching from Kawa, Momo family watching me from NVIDIA Congo Town. Kapchipa Peters watching me from the United States, Iowa. Papi Xavier College Jr., my friend and brother, long time no see, Papi. Hope you doing well in the States. G. Samson Abraham Doppler watching me from Zredru Ellis Toti Jr., watching me from somewhere in Maryland County. Ohandis Gale watching me. Sophia Kale watching me as well. Roland Say Gua has joined me. Lincoln Colley watching me. Christian, and many of you are joining me. I can't read all of the comments at the same time, but let me take this time to say never mind to my friend and brother Clarence Jackson, my twin brother. Clarence lost his son in a very tragic accident, in a very tragic situation. His son was stabbed by a young man, and he tells me the guy had gone to pat people as a peacemaker. He has gone to pat two other friends who were fighting, and then one of them pulled a very sharp object and stabbed him to death. That's what happened to Clarence. He's going through some time. Let's pray for Clarence. Let's keep up the course with him. Let's identify him at this time. The police has that man in their custody already, and all our arrangements have been made. We'll let you know about that. But Clarence Jackson, your wife, Catherine Jackson, we say never mind to the family. Clarissa Jackson in the Great Rwanda, going to school there, his sister rather. I would say never mind to you all. Wow, welcome Lincoln Colley now, Joseph K. Colley, Joshua J. Roberts, Gia Campley, Safa Dolo, Masako Sharif joining me from 100 Germany. Eddie Umar watching from District number 4, Montreal County is Eddie Umar. Let me come back to you and ask. I just want to repeat the question. I said, what do you think the way has done that he should deserve a second term, Phil?
So thank you very much. I think the first point in looking at President Weah being re-elected is he was able to ensure a smooth transition by building on existing frameworks. You know, there's always a logical basis for every step that you take. You need to identify it. For example, during the previous government, they tried to extend the spread of schools. They opened some community colleges there. But George Weah said, when I was in school, it wasn't an issue of whether the school was near me or far away. The issue was whether I could afford it. So he made tuition-free higher education his priority. And I think that was a great accomplishment for the first term. And I look forward to a second term where improving a general quality of education becomes the next step. Because that's what we talk about, smooth transition.
Okay.
When it comes to the issue of health, after the Ebola crisis, Liberia took up some steps to ensure that we have emergency preparedness. So when the COVID-19 crisis came up, that network that was set up was properly resourced and giving the sort of mandate that was necessary, to the extent that Liberia had one of the lowest percentages of COVID prevalence anywhere in the world. And to this day, Liberia is still studied as a success story for COVID response. And it was made a cohesive national program. 2 months before the first COVID case in Liberia came, Liberia already started having a COVID response meetings. That's the extent to which the Georgian government built on pre-existing things.
And even to add up to that, during the COVID time, people were saying now working somewhere home, and they were being paid by the government. That's a success story for the We Are government.
That's a success story for the We Are government. So on the end of those who were employed by the state, they were asked to serve or essential staff or non-essential staff. Whether you are essential or non-essential, you receive 100% salary.
Absolutely.
For those in the private sector, unlike other countries that carry on massive layoffs, Liberia said you are allowed to pay 50% of salaries to those who are not working.
And I did not see that. My brain can recall whether it happened to the Ebola crisis under the former government.
No, it didn't. When the Ebola crisis came, Liberia was completely unready for those things. I mean, there was a country that wasn't even having functional ambulances, not to mention or response system or mechanism. Connected to that, then you talk about taking new steps. And I like to distinguish between the work of the CDC government and the work of the previous government on this aspect.
Okay.
You know, people need to remember that whether we like it or not, the United Party is a part of the history of Liberia's crisis. After the 1985 elections, there were 4 parties that formed a grand alliance that served as the agitation that formed as the logical basis for the MPFL rebellion. And those parties included the United Party, the United Party along with the Liberia Action Party and other parties. After the 1997 elections, the stand-up of the United Party talked about tightening the screws on Charles Taylor, and she repeatedly used all means to go out there and ensure that that government got kicked out by force. So when you see some of the things that they did, it was actually trying to cover up a past that they damaged. And even then, we still did not reach to our pre-war status. So technically, the United Party owes us. We don't owe the United Party our vote. The United Party owes the Liberian people. Yes, they ought to. Those who took salaries from the United Party government ought to come in the community and share some of that money because they put us behind. So when you look at the rules that the United Party built, and I appreciate those rules, but they were repairs of rules that were built by previous government that the crisis that they form a part of damage. So like Monrovia to Ganta, obviously it was paid before, but now it
added to it.
So they didn't even add, they just repaired because it was one league going, one league coming. It's still one league going, one league coming. The same as Monrovia to Buchanan. So what the new thing now, for President, we have started, for example, making the Robertsfield Highway 2 lanes. That is new. So that is taking us a step into the future. The connections between communities and as God will have it, the former vice president is not benefiting from improved connection in rehab in other parts of Painesville. These are things that the real government has put in place as new items or elements. And then you talk about the key of overcoming shocks. You know, I must link this with the issue of the road. So people are going in southeast of Liberia and telling people that your roads you are being fixed well by President Weah in the 5+ years he has had in office. Given they didn't fix it in 12 years, but they say that it shall be fixed in the 5+ years, which has a level of contradiction in it. But what is used to fix roads? People use asphalt or coal tar or coal bitumen. That is a byproduct of petroleum refining. The United Party-led government sold our refinery as scrap. And a pass or act that turned the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Corporation to the Liberian Petroleum Storage Corporation.
Okay.
So what happens now is that Liberia got gasoline. And when you want quota or asphalt, you have to buy it on the world market instead of producing it yourself as a byproduct. Consequently, during the COVID-19 crisis, when the world was focused on producing hand sanitizer, nose masks, and COVID vaccine, those sort of things went low in global supply. So you can't blame the real government for not fixing roads during the COVID-19 crisis. That's a key thing. Russia and Ukraine, none of those countries consulted with George Weah before invading others. No. But those are things that had net negative implications on the country. And what do? It means that Liberia is no longer on the humanitarian front page that we were. When the previous government took power 2006, Liberia was sorrowful story. Jana, if you are president, you have gotten a lot of do not support to. Of course, President Sirleaf got more because of a previous relationship with the international community.
Absolutely. A broken system, a parasite.
They want to use all of these things to do the marketing. So they got $16,000 of foreign, $16 billion of foreign aid.
Foreign direct investment.
$16 billion foreign direct investment.
By this time, we should have been reaping.
Of course, the
benefit from that foreign direct investment, 15 billion.
Yeah. In addition to spending over
so that's why it makes me so sad when I hear these same guys when you did the party want to come by the power. They criticize the Georgia government of doing XYZ, but they fail to tell us what happened to that foreign direct investment of 15 billion. What at this time in 3 years in Georgia government we shall be reaping the benefit for that.
Yeah. So we should have been experiencing what is technically rainfall, but we never experienced any rainfall because many of these things were calculated or agreed without giving full attention to the interests of the people. And these things are obviously done in a full view of former Vice President Joseph Boakai. And that's why I don't agree with him on many things. I agree with him when he said they squandered opportunities because
and they abuse time.
Yeah. So these guys got 16 plus 16, that's 32 billion. When you count the over $5 billion that was in Liberian government revenue, they used $37 billion was available to them for use in this country over a 12 years period. And now you are complaining about a person who got less than 1/6 of that amount to spend within 6 years. And you claim that person did not touch the sky. No, people don't touch the sky. The most they can do is to reach to the roof of their house. Or if possible, build a tower. So I think they are being grossly unfair to President Weah in his efforts. He did not score 100%. Now even he himself gave himself that grade. But he scored enough to pass to the next class. And that's what I'm asking Liberians to do. Let's pass George Weah to the next class of a second team.
Phil Tabet Dixon is my guest. Let me take this short break. I'll come back. Then we'll open the phone lines for you for some participation from the viewers. But in the meantime, let me recognize some of the guys who join us. This guy is saying that his name is... he said, good afternoon, Jala. This is Amos J.F. Senior, following you from Tubugizi, Lofa County. Piri Ford from Christian Community has joined me. Piri Ford, how are you? Let me go back. Let me get this one. Adi Wisa, is that Minister Adi Wisa watching me this afternoon?
We say thank you.
Sophia Kelly Washington, his second. My condolences to the family for the loss of Mr. Clarence Jackson. Moneybuy Jobo, Washington Greenville Supermarket. Canada Supermarket, rather. Jero's Glass Person Deja Morris, Washington Dupont Avenue. Glamour Addison, Washington from somewhere in Moswara County. Christian C. Davis has joined me. Tato. Mr. President, whoa, Tato.
We can see peoples. We thank you for development. President, we appreciate you. We pray for long life. We pray for good health. Wisdom, understanding, and protection. Hey, when you are blessed, hey, you are blessed. President, you are blessed. Never chicken to say you are blessed.
Let me say welcome to you, Ambassador Jeremiah K. Sako. I'm following us from Marshall City. Call me on these numbers: 086. That's 080 514 080 514 These are the numbers to call me. Once you call those two numbers, you are true to the lines, and I will take your calls. And you speak to the Honorable Phil Tabedesin. Giorgio, let's take the first caller. Hello, welcome. What's your name? Where do you call from?
Good evening and good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome, my friend and brother.
Okay,
what's your name?
Paul Sosa. I call from Zulu Whiskey.
Okay, from Zulu Whiskey. Let's say it quickly. No time.
Thank you. I want to commend the gentleman that instilled in Serie A, President. We are hard to 12 years, and now as we speak, the president is in his east. Could you imagine? We started waiting for him yesterday morning, and up to and the man got to Zulu Whiskey yesterday by 10 o'clock, and we're on the football field from 10 to 2 o'clock this morning. Before the program was going to end, and this morning the man passed on. Now to speak, my brother just called me 1 hour ago. They said the man is in the second time of Virginia about to reach Bekoka weekend.
Okay.
So the person is moving smoothly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me take the next caller. Hello, welcome you on the bumper show.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good evening.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome. What's your name, sir?
Yeah, I'm Chasty Cooper. I call personally from Carisburg.
Okay.
Let me say good evening or good afternoon to Phil Tabedesin.
Good evening, Charles.
He's one of those Liberians that I normally admire. It doesn't matter which party he's from, but I admire Phil Tabedesin for his eloquence and level of rationalism that he brings to the table. But what I want to say to Mr. Phil Tabedesin, for us on the CPP angle, we strongly believe that both United Party and CDC have failed the Liberian people for the last 12 and 6 years. So that's why we are giving them the best option in Mr. Arizona Benale Clean Hands Cummings. If Liberian really
what clean hands Cummings? You know, at the menu.
Hello.
Go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
I think that's why we are giving the Liberian people the best option in Mr. Arizona Benale Clean Hands Cummings. And we are seeking that the Liberian people will make the best decision.
Thank you. You made a point. Others have to talk. Thank you very kindly. The next caller is here. Welcome. Hello. Welcome. How are you?
Good afternoon. Clarence Jackson.
No, Jala Greyfield. Clarence said you're on with me, Clarence. You Foya?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see you.
Let me comment on the student because someone during the 2017 election when my president decided to show the vice president, the current vice president to go to the issue of education, the old issue of things from the circle. That's the time I met with a very young fellow who always did the positive and the negative. And we are all there to go and bury the loss of our two colleagues who are murdered by the Unity Party staff. So I would like to call everyone to be peaceful as we go to the Paracas next week to catch our thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you. Kobo Pastor, you're trying to call me on the record. Yes, I think he's calling this number. I can take you for a few minutes. Welcome, Kobo. How are you?
Yeah, Jala, good afternoon and good afternoon to my friend, brother Phil.
Yeah,
good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. I'm following the conversation this afternoon from district number 11.
Okay.
Yeah, I let it go Phil, right? And we have to call it spade. Phil work in the government. We know for the reason why he resigned from the government. We have to come to the public and explain that, but you know very well what happened.
My man said your poeba.
Just today, in front of finance ministry, Liberians who work with government were crying for 11 months salary.
11 months salary?
I said 11 months, the beach and water will project people 11 months. I get a video I can send to you, Jana. So I don't challenge in less than 8 to 9 days of election, right? The government has failed to pay people that work for all time. Then you expect like people to go back with that kind of anger and vote.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper Passaway. Cooper, thank you. I think we want to take some more calls. Hello, welcome. Cooper has put away a table. Hello, let me guess with. Hello, welcome. The next caller.
Yeah.
No time. You have 15 to 20 seconds to make a case.
How you doing?
Hello, welcome you on the bumper show.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Kumian. I joined the conversation from Banga, Brooklyn community specifically.
Brooklyn community will be there on Thursday or Friday.
Okay, you guys are welcome. I just want to make this clear. I think President Weah has done his best. There's nothing but about the best. As you can see, the road from Banga to Lofa County, you drive on a very smooth road. So that alone have made the Lofia in the enthusiastic spirit that will do a thing. That President Weah will be voted for massively. I can tell you that clear.
Okay.
So I must say thank you for the show that you conduct. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very kindly. Next caller is here. Welcome. You live. Let's hear you.
Good evening, Dad.
Good evening. Welcome. You are on the bumper show. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Alaska P and joining from Maria province.
Okay, Alaska.
This is I just want to commend the company studio for a great deliberation to the issues, and we believe that the support to the president will give the president more edge. We shouldn't mind critics. These are doing the propagandists. So we just also thank you for the clear explanation.
Thank you. Let me take the next caller here. Welcome. You have 15 seconds to make a case. Hello? The next caller, are you there?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Ruby Kane?
Yeah, this is Ruby Kane.
Okay, Ruby, let's hear you.
I come from Sunday Campus.
Okay.
You see, let me appreciate your slogan. All you have said, or you have been saying, you are just improved for what you have been saying. The government of Liberia, except problem we are his work is beyond limitation. He does not have the funding for the development. Only the section for the angle of the opposition that because it is Venezuela or because the CDC government, that's why they are always angry and they are doing all they can to see to it that this country can be destructed as they brought yesterday. And this thing cannot be happy. We will stand with the peace and the peace will continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruby Kane. Let me take two calls now and I call it quit. My next guest is here. Colinus Weah comes from the angle of the CDC. He is an economist who don't talk about the economy of the country and other issues. Let me say welcome to you, caller. Welcome. What's your name?
Hello, Jara.
Oh, is that Masisi?
Yes, my original to the president.
Oh, yeah, you get to where you can always call the radio so I can be missing your voices. The president friend, let me hear you.
Yeah, Jara Grady, first of all, I want to tell my son, Phil Tata, thank you.
Okay.
You see, Phil, you are our son from Sino country.
All right.
Even though you are in a race, somehow we never voted for you.
Okay.
If we said that, we are wanting you to wait small.
You're not here, you're preparing here.
Yes, we prepare you. But when the time comes, you will see why we that on the front, what we do for you.
Okay.
So I want to tell you, thank you
Thank you.
for coming back. Only president we are heart for the youth. Only heart for the youth. You don't want to have a future for you. You don't want thinking only on the young people. So I want to tell you, thank you, Papa, for coming back.
Okay.
From now on, we'll stand by you. Thank you.
All right, I will take at least 5 more minutes from this time because my next guest is here, but I will take 5 to 10 more minutes because let me take the Deputy Minister for Technical Services at the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs and Tourism, Honorable Bwaka Fofana, the man who has the Weah Intellectual Movement. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you so much, Jala. You know, I was just driving and listening to the show, and whenever Phil is on the radio, he promises to be intellectual calisthenics. So I was just enjoying it, and I like the fact that he's endorsing the president. I just want to say congratulations. He made the right decision.
Thank you,
but I'm actually prompted to call because some of the times you don't let these things slide. After I called the radio and made some accusations about beach and waterway workers haven't been paid.
Yeah, what is it? What is the fact about that? Is the government actually owing them? And how many months do they owe them?
So firstly, the government doesn't owe civil servants at this point. right now the government is completing payments for September. That's for civil servants. Now, the beach and waterway workers were under a different scheme under the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And when we reach out to the folks at the Ministry of Youth and Sports this morning, they've told us that they've paid all of them. They owe nobody under that particular scheme. It was a
so
scheme.
You think somebody is using it politically?
Young people in the community and all of that, clean the beaches and get some stipends. And the Ministry of Finance have provided funding for those payments. So they themselves were wondering who are the folks gathering in front of the Ministry of Finance this morning. And we know that there's been all kinds of different, cooked up grievances and all those sort of politically motivated schemes, people coming up one area or the next. The last time we saw some folks right at your compound, the LBS, pretending to protest for something that wasn't completely legitimate. So we are investigating to find out whether this was another, politically motivated action. But as it is, the organizers or the folks that are responsible for the Beach and Waterway project, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, have told us that they aren't owing.
Yeah, because the last time I checked, the Minister of Youth and Sports made it clear that project came to an end. They were trying to revitalize it, reactivate it another time. But they hear that people are saying in the government say owes them. This is my imagination, Mr. Minister. But thanks for the clarity. Baga, is it there? I think the minister left. Let me take Ishaka Sharif, Assistant Minister, the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Mr. Minister, welcome. You are on the Bumper Show.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Jala Greenfield, the early morning bird.
The early morning bird has sent to be the afternoon bird.
My good friend and brother, Phil Tablet Dixon. How are you?
What's up, bro?
Yeah, Jala, there's something important here. Phil's activities in the CDC and out of the CDC suggest that the CDC is a party that, that welcomes a disagreement whenever there is one.
Okay.
Phil Dixon, even though he was deputy minister, but at certain times he vehemently disagreed with the decision and policies of the party, and that's what makes us democratic. And we respected his opinion then, that we told him that we said this is not your time, and I think we have an appropriate time for you. I don't know whether that time has reached, whether this is that time, but I think it suggests to the fact that the CDC is a democratic institution that believes in the opinion of everybody, of anybody. And so, Mr. Dixon, we say you're welcome. Are you a councillor now or still an attorney?
Councillor law.
So let me say Councillor Dixon.
Yeah.
Anthony Dixon, you're welcome.
Councillor law, yeah.
In support of President George Weah, and we wholeheartedly welcome you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very kindly for that, Mr. Minister. Let me take the next caller here. Good afternoon, welcome. What's your name? Where do you come from, sir?
Today, Mumu calling from District 3.
District 3, Monserrato County?
Yeah, Monserrato, District 3 alone.
Okay, all right, let's hear you. Go ahead.
Welcome you.
Thank you.
Party for everybody, welcome you. Now move the party for Ottawa 10 is the president gives. We give you Ottawa 10.
All right, thank you so very kindly. The next caller is here. Welcome, let's hear you. Hello, welcome. Yes?
Yeah, my name is Gautam Pugin from District County.
Okay, let's hear you.
Charles, let me greet you, student, just all of you.
Already.
I want to urge all my brothers to remain peaceful, but to work and vote for President Weah for his hard work. It is the government, I guess, and previous government. Thank you.
Thank you so very kindly. Let me welcome some of the guys who join us. Nathaniel Saki, my young brother there in Banga, celebrating his birthday today. He's an accountant at the Banga. That's a BCTC there. Synergy Chachel Nangbe, watching from Buchanan, Muyan Sherry, watching from District number 9. Ambassador Jeremiah S. Sako Araya comment earlier. Let me take this final caller. I'll come back to Phil and I give you a very important information. Good afternoon, welcome.
Yeah, this is Damon Blamos speaking from Southtown.
You call him a Southtown, the home of President Weah.
Yeah.
How is the momentum there in Southtown as President Weah is expected to come to Southtown on the campaign trail?
It's just that, you far up now, but it's I've been in what the whole Southtown belt is they are jubilating. We got the news that President Weah is in the Fish Town.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not easy now in Southtown.
Wow.
All the various towns within Southtown, especially where John Weah is from,
P.W.P.
Now, yeah, the people are in their traditional mood now in P.W.P. It's not easy.
P.W.P. Yeah, I remember when he went to France on that business engagement with other world leaders. He called out and P.W.P. I remember that very time he was talking to some business people in their interaction. But thanks a lot for calling. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just squeeze this final call. He's been waiting forever. Hello, welcome.
Yeah, Gerald, good evening to my brother, my friend and brother, Theo Tabet. I'm Sean Bapu, chairman for We Are One Round Veteran.
Anson Bapu, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, Gerald, thank you very much. And we are constrained to call, in our plan of bereavement, but we have to do the work of the Liberian people.
Okay.
So we have to call. Gerald, I think Theo has said it all. Look, everywhere we went, every district in the river of Liberia, you will touch something that has to do with personal Weah development. And there is more than 200 reasons to re-elect this president. And let's say thank you to my brother for coming back. The Madi coalition for doing that change. And go together with make Mama Liberia a better place. Thank you very much.
Top FM 105.5 in Zwedru relays a bumper show. Radio DMP Law and Radio King Makona relay the bumper show there in Foyalofa County where they were clutches a few times. Radio somewhere in Salakoli relays a bumper show. The Voice of Grand Crew also relays it. Bobby Addison tells me. Voice of Pliwa also relays a bumper show. And 7 other radio stations owned and operated by ELBC on its own frequency are also relaying this program. But be informed that as the campaign season ends on Sunday, is that Sunday on the 8th? Yeah, the never Sunday. And starting from now onward after election, ELBC signals will not go up until 11:30 in the night. So those who have been complaining about the open conversation and coming on your radio in the evening hours in the counties, once you have ELBC signal, you will hear TDGBO and the man called Tape, Washington Tape. So our broadcast was sent to 11:30. That is a management decision we reached to give the Liberian people time to listen to the radio. Where are my Dodis? Where are my Chupayus? Where is my man Seku? Seku, you there? The man is the manager of Top FM. And I'm playing it for the Crown people in Grand Julia County, man. But we were passed away last night. I'm told it was a political Jesus coming. A triumphant entry politically. He enters Fishtown now, headed for Maryland County. From Maryland County to Grand Crew. From Grand Crew to Sano County. The river says back to Buchanan and back to Monrovia. And the big one comes on a Sunday, yes, on the 8th of the month, where the CDC closes the campaign rally. Let me come by the field, Tabet Dixon. As he closes up, you listen to the callers. Many of them were just giving accolades while you see around.
You know, let me say that I'm the type of person who has no former friend. And I'm glad to know that I think we will be beginning to declare the suspension of membership of the CDC officially ended as of now.
Okay.
And I'm resuming active and vibrant endeavors as a member of the CDC. I would also like to ask the members of the Sophia movement to give keen consideration to resuming their engagement with the Congress for democratic change and also reactivating winners with WEA. I know there are some people from the Sophia movement, this one is now a hidden secret, who are not members of the CDC that I can dodge, but we'll be asking them, appealing to the options to give CDC the chance. When I look at the comments that were made, there are a few I want to address. One of them came from my brother Charles Cooper from Carisburg, who talked about the CPP getting a chance. And let me begin by saying that I've read a bit of literature from the CPP. A lot of their guys there are our friends. But I am a bit concerned that the CPP is trying something that appears very unprecedented.
What is it?
So we have a presidential candidate and a vice presidential candidate that combined do not have more than 1 week experience in government. Yeah.
Comments and that
in government. The same with Madam Brumskin. So technically, this is going to be their orientation for government, and they are asking us. The CPP is asking us that we should give them the orientation at the executive mansion. As much as there might be other things to say about the CPP, but I am, for one person, a bit reluctant to make that logical leap of giving somebody orientation at the executive mansion. So going further to Comrade Cooper passed away, who talked about the Beach and Waterways project, and I want him to understand that when he mentioned the Beach and Waterways project, he actually reinforced the reasons why I said President Weah should be re-elected. This was an endeavor, a program, or a project that was instituted by the Unity Party. Why was it Beach and Waterways? Because the areas along the beach, those seaside districts, were places that CDC was on a regular basis getting votes. So they were hoping to use this as a means of breaking into those strongholds. So they carried on that program. The CDC, the government came and continued it. I want to ask Cooper, what if the Liberian people follow his standard bearer advice about ending Liberia? Will the Beach and Waterways project people have anywhere to demonstrate for pay? The answer is no. So, realistically speaking, he is not pushing anything that is positive.
Okay.
So, before I can see that our guests are here, but there were
1 minute 30 seconds.
I saw that were important. I saw somebody talking about a comrade from the Real Woman Victory Movement, and of course Daniel from Brooklyn Community.
Okay.
So let me say, there are people on the other side who say they want round a section of the CDC is a reason for them to carry out violence. But let me say, then they are making a surprise. If you recall, you are here in 2005, the Unity Party was credited with 19.8% of the votes during the first round. In October of 2005, November of 2005, Unity Party mentioned that they had 59.4% of the vote. That was what was announced. They said they were able to increase by 40% and triple their score within 1 month. Between 2005 first round and 2011 first round, the United Party is, according to the records they provided us, grew from 19.8% to 44% of the vote. That's 25% growth in 6 years, using the benefit of incumbency. Now CDC is on 38%, and she's saying that we're not increased 40%. We're not increased 25%.
Okay.
We're only increased 12%. And then I see people jumping up and down and getting confused. No comment. It's either you saying that you didn't do those increases in actual light, either there was something wrong with your claims then that is causing you to believe that it is not real.
Okay.
But you can't just jump on and say it doesn't happen. So to conclude,
please do quickly. We have to go. My next guest is here.
To conclude, I must once again appreciate the Liberian people. I got to know a lot of things. Realistically speaking, there are some concerns that people have about the CDC government. And I want to say that this is your government.
Okay.
There are some people who are speaking to use evil things about the CDC, but some of these are guys that even if George Weah was giving long life and prosperity out there, they will say why he didn't do it when their father was alive.
Okay.
Before going, let me extend my sympathy to our brother Clarence Jackson. He's a big brother to me. He might be an equal brother to you, but he's a big brother to me.
Yeah,
I got to know him when there was an issue of the mysterious killing of a young guy in Bon County called Augustine Goloto. I appeared on Radio Banga talking about the issue and showing that young people have peaceful marches in Bon County on the issues of Augustine. It's so sad that the person gave us that platform now is they won't be with.
Thank you so much, Phil.
Okay.
And this I want to say thank you to the Nima people for accepting Begubert. I will take a break and I come back. My guests are here. Let's just go left and this address. Mr. Benenti Tike, Benenti Tike, and Carlinus M. Weah Jr., professionals for the re-election of George Weah, are here as my guests. This one is a copy. Jerry Sakama is in Lofa County. Welcome, Jerry Sakama. Mr. Anthony Tamapuyo is watching me and listening to the radio through Radio Makona 101.5 in Foya Solitary District, Lofa County. Oh yes, what a teaser with that one. Let me pause now and bring my guest. Then I will take a water break and come back. Let me welcome Mr. Carlinus M. Weah, and he's here with Mr. Benenti Tike. They are professionals for the re-election of President Weah come 2023 October 10th. Let me say welcome, gentlemen. You are welcome to ELBC Radio.
Thanks ever so much, my dear Alpha brother.
Alpha Carlinus.
Alpha Jala.
Let me say welcome to you, Benny. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Your first time on this on the Bumper Show?
Very first time, and I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you so much. Let's start with you, Mr. Chairman. You are going for re-election. Let's hear how did it come into being? As I welcome Mr. Vafli Sharif from Lofa County, head of the Blind Association there, to the Bumper Show. Let's hear you. Then we'll go to Benny. We have introductory comments and we'll come and go to the middle of the discussion.
Foremost, it's important to say thank you for the invite. We are here, the professionals for the re-election of Ambassador George Weah. He's an accredited auxiliary within the CDC. We have been around since 2017. We did same in 2017. We are here again. We have been making a couple of rounds to ensure that yes, indeed, in these last days of political activities, there will be some political false prophets ranging the face of the country to ensure that they spread false messages. So it's incumbent upon us as disciples of the CDC to ensure that we create the necessary checkpoints, provide the facts to the people, and they themselves can take an independent decisions as to follow President George Weah. We will present the facts this evening, what President Weah has done with the last 6 years of stewardship, and they will be here to decide.
Okay, Benny.
In short, we are here to spread the good news and expel the lies. Is a lot of our colleagues will say, hey, you say you have done so much for the country. Why are you campaigning?
And that's a question they keep asking.
We will have to campaign, not in the sense of trying to sell new ideas, but trying to educate our people on what has been done and what the potentials are for us to produce and gain more.
And once the question is asked, why is Georgia campaigning continuously? And my answer is because he wants to win on the first ballot.
Sure. And besides that, I think all studies show that there's a dominant Christian country, right? Mm-hmm. When after Jesus Christ's resurrection, okay, he came down, he gave the guys, he showed the guy the light. So the disciples going forward, they were able to move from towns and villages. When you read Bible, they tell you from Pamphylia, Cappadocia, Mesopotamia, Tagra, Judea, because they preached the good news of Christ, so that the Pharisees and the scribes could not ill-advise them that Jesus Christ was in the real Son of God. It's incumbent upon us the past 6 years, the good things that we have done, the facts, the data that we have. So today, we want to provide you facts, and Liberian people themselves on a regular will be able to listen. But if Cornelius and Benny are saying these things. Let me go and find out. They ask me to check this place. They ask me to check that place. And you will be taking an independent decision. So, yes, indeed, we campaign and we campaign to spread the good news.
Now, let's go to the meat of the discussion. Now, you are campaigning that George Weah will win on the first ballot. That's what you think of. And others are saying, no, it cannot happen. This is a country that has almost 22 political parties. Everyone is involved with it. There will be a second round. And you say, insisting that you can win the first ballot. What have you done as a government? Have you done as a supporter of the government has done that you supporters of government saying that George Weah can win on the first ballot? Are there numbers you want to talk about? Are there the tangibles you want to talk about? What are those existing tangibles you think that people can look at and say George Weah should be re-elected?
So, as a political institution, we have done extremely well in our own strategies to ensuring on what basis we believe we can win the first round. We are not just sitting in Monrovia. We have hired independent consultants, and all of the reports have been done independent. I mean, I'm moved by your price. So if you are sitting here, historically, CDC have moved up to 38%. Like one of the active discussants in the country. 38% what? Yeah, I mean, her share of the vote most time.
Okay.
So one of the active discussants in the country was saying, if George Weah at his best time could earn 30%, now that he's president, he has had some blemish, including he has had some blemish. But it's interesting for you to know because of most recent, we're in Nimba, we're in Lofa. We were able to talk to those in Nimba County, in the conversation on the ground. It's totally different. This is the Zegoze we name. There's a man, our son, our elder, P. Yelu Johnson, in all respect, he brought him to us. He said, this is our son. He's from Biendoru. A man who's from Biendoru, our sister. And they have given Zegoze. In their mind, what has Zegoze done for them over the past 6 years? He has done extremely well. Okay? So we engage communities, we engage towns and villages for the last 3 or 4 days in Nimba County. We could visit a community radio station, Alpha Jala. When you get on the ground, the conversation is totally interesting. That yes, indeed, we respect ourselves, but for this one, we want to take the appropriate decisions to ensure that yes, indeed, we gave George Weah a vote because we have seen. The other lady, one night told me that go ban school are more or less falling. And this president, this government ensure that yes, indeed, ban is up to date. The road from here to look at too, because in our economics, 3 major factors: human capital, road connectivity, and energy. You ask yourself, are the people in Nimba, are they backlog with road connectivity since CDC took over? The answer left with them. Are they backlog with electricity since CDC took over? The answer left with them. Education. So they have seen the reality on that basis. They're going to take the decision. And from our political calculation, we know our forecasted target in Nimba County and the one we are targeting. Based upon these facts, we know where we are heading. We are heading to a one-round victory. And the people in Nimba are going to decide. Okay, I challenge you. Watch off for October 11 precisely and see the number you party we defeated in Nimba County. Take it as a challenge.
Benny, let me hear you. You want to add something to that?
October 10, Liberians will go to the polls and vote for George Weah, and the vote will be enormous and expecting a first-round victory because of the tangibles that he had brought to the Liberian population. These are not things that are theoretical. These are physical things that we see, things that our people experience on a day-to-day basis. And I will start with health. Look, George Weah has established a dialysis treatment center. The dialysis treatment center is established. It is in the JFK compound. It has been providing services to people. The dialysis treatment center is a center where if you have a disorder, kidney failure, you
can just go there and do a check.
You can go there.
And that hasn't existed.
You can go there. Not just do check. You can go there and be treated. There are dialysis machines there. People are there.
So many are home and then way in a village when they get signal, they can come and go there, they can treat them.
If they have kidney problem, they can go right to JFK. There's a dialysis treatment center there. It was established under this government and is running effectively. You will not have to go to Ghana again. You will not have to go to any neighboring country. Folks in America who have faced dialysis, kidney problem, and require regular dialysis treatment or so forth. Those people have now returned home. Some of them have now returned home, because they have regular booking at the dialysis center and they are here getting treated. So that's just one aspect. But moving on, the president had, done a lot more in the health sector. The president, beyond the establishment of the dialysis treatment center, which is the first of its kind, he also now establishing multiple oxygen production plants around the country. Oxygen is a key component of health care service. And, a lot of people, different diseases, people suffer from respiratory problems. And those respiratory problems require the use of oxygen to stabilize respiration. So a lot of people, in the absence of oxygen, they will go. There are a lot of deaths as a result of lack of oxygen and so forth. Now the government has established several oxygen production stations. There is one right now that is very operational at the Starbase facility. There's another one that is operational in Bommi. There's one already established in the JFK compound. It will be online very soon. They are doing training and so forth. There's another one established in Buchanan to the Bassa Hospital, government hospital in Bassa. And there are 4 other ones that the construction right now is almost completed. The plants have been installed in Lofa, in Nimba, Tapeta Hospital, in Grand Jida, and in Grand Cru.
Okay.
4 other locations. Oxygen will be produced in those locations to save life.
Okay.
Beyond that, the president have done a lot to help aid the providing residents or shelter for nurses who are working, especially in our interior areas. The president have done a lot of housing units. There are housing units that have been done in Nimba, in Moserado, rural Moserado. There are housing units that have been done. There are housing units done at the hospital in River G. There are housing units done in Maryland, in Grand Cru, in Lofa, and there are housing units also recently done in Bommi County.
So these are tangible, and librarians can look at and say, we should give Joshua a second term.
These are tangible. The tangibles are a whole lot beyond the health sector. Right in our very eyes, you see our children are now being made to play in decent places instead of going on the beaches and being at risk of being
and the president made that known to the local people that if you give me the chance to come back for the second time, I will also help you to make your life better. When he was asked by the young people to have a playground in Kolahu, he said, look at the center around the FE area there. Yeah. The guys were living in slum and ghettos. Yeah. Now you can boast of 50 housing units that were built by this president, given up to the people free of charge, and living there, and their lives have become better.
Sure.
So it tells me, but again, you're talking about health. The vice president was here on this radio. Okay. She made mention and said Bon County needs to vote the president for the second term because Lower Bon, comprising Salala, the Sunway and other areas, will be benefiting from the first biggest hospital, government-built hospital, that will have a training center for nurses and other people. That's a boost to our country if he's re-elected. Benny.
Yeah, those are plans that will be executed and our people will benefit in a huge way. But beyond those plans, what's happening right now, there are hospitals ongoing right now. In Nimba County, the Samuel Kwele Hospital, which is currently just closed by the train track, the patient will be in bed, on bed and being treated and so forth, and then train passing and the vibration and noise and stuff like those. The president had gone there and said to the people, look, the condition here has to be changed. Our people need a safer place for healthcare service. So that hospital, the construction of the new hospital on a new site in Second Park has started. The contractor is undergoing mobilization right now. If you go on the site, there are bricks, concrete bricks there already molded, and our people will soon be seeing the walls and things going up. The same thing for Grand Bassa County. the Basel Hospital. That hospital, it was a smaller unit. There were multiple extensions, and because of all the makeshift extension, there was even a fire incident, multiple fire incidents at our hospital.
Multiple fire incidents.
And because of that, the place is not so functional. So the president had made it his duty to, look forward to reconstruction of that hospital. The contract has been awarded, and tomorrow there will be a site visit with the government team and the Arsenal Metal team. So that they initiate the formal turning
before
over the site and the construction will start.
Before we go briefly to the economy, which I know Colinas want to talk about the economy from the December 31, 2017 and now 2023 December. How does it look like? How has it been improved on? Because now and then you hear people say the economy is not performing, it's getting poor. Things are getting difficult. The exchange rate has gone up. Nothing being done by the government to make it stable. Things are getting difficult. I will come to that, and we have to go to the economy briefly and go to other political issues. Let me welcome Colbert Akwe, and my correspondent Moses Ghibli tells me that Maryland is gearing up to receive President Weah. The guys are in very enthusiastic mood to receive President Weah in the next few hours to Maryland County. Colbert Akwe tells me Lofa is winning bigly on the side of George Weah. Roosevelt June 24 ball is following me. Michael Weah Madia is joining me. Michael Weah Madia is joining me. 5 J. Sims Jr. is watching me. Ada Hoff Hayes is watching me from Soul Clinic. Ada Hoff Hayes, how are you, my sister? Papa D'accord is watching me. Let me come to you. Let's look at the numbers. In terms of the economy, how has it performed? These are some of the things that people look at in terms of development, because when it's improving, it means that development is taking place at a rapid speed. You are the economist. Let me hear from you.
So, Alpha Jala, so somewhere between 2018, 2019, our good friends from up Broad Street, up Sacred Heart Cathedral, they were quoting.
You mean the Unity Party guy?
Yeah, I mean, when you want to hear opposite Sacred Heart Cathedral Church or Broad Street, I mean, no worries. So they were actually quoting independent reports. Don't take it from we Unity Party, but go to the World Bank report. They give you all the stats, okay? Go to IMF, volume 5 report from the book, go to the one. But when the conversation starts to change, and the World Bank and the IMF has seen macroeconomic stability in the country, the guys are no longer reading the reports. Okay, so all of what you have heard from them in La Beau, they are deceiving the people. So it's incumbent upon us now to ensure that we provide the facts. Even sometimes the conversation is saying, why would the woman in the market? She want to understand it better. But her son that she took her time to say better about the Central University of Liberia, graduated, should now be able to listen and interpret it. And let me tell you, how possible is it that you say the economy is not performing? As of December 31st, 2017, what was the budget performance? What number did the government turn over to CDC? 453 million actual. That is domestic tax, foreign grants and so forth, right? 453 million actual. In the space of 4 to 5 years, CDC moving from 453 million to 700 million. When you do the mathematics, what percentage increment? Up to 70%. So if the country budget can move from 453 million to 700 million, you say nothing happening? 453 million to 700, that's almost about 73% increment. Okay, now they have told you nothing happening. So all of these things that Benny have said, all of these developments you have seen, all the fiscal policy that we have been able to do over the period are based upon the movement in the budget. And the movement in the budget is not because we say, oh no, we actually impose new taxes. No, that if Jara moving from here going for, he has to pay $10 leaving from what's the area again said?
Johnsonville.
From Johnsonville to come to Somalia. No, we're not on the count of new taxes, because through the fiscal authority we have instituted sound fiscal policy to ensure we have adequate revenue collection. That's what's happening. So here, President George, we have ensured that the free tuition policy are on account of the decisions we have taken. Besides the movement in the budget, because we want two forms, right? We got the fiscal authority, we have the monetary authority. If the budget has improved by 70%, if you go to central bank, the bankers bank, what happens in central bank? Central Bank has moved her balance sheet. It's not Cornelius' report. Central Bank was audited by KPMG, one of the big four, from 2008 or 2009 up to 2020, right? She has been giving financial report. The government of George Weah took the asset of the country, then move it up by 100%. You go and read the facts report. So for somebody to tell you, say nothing happening, extremely lie. You want to deceive the people. So yes, in keeping up to provide you facts. I encourage Liberian Radio to take the auditor report from KPMG. What was the performance of the central bank December 31st, 2017? These are independent expert reports. And then go to Deloitte. It's my understanding that Deloitte and Touch, in collaboration with a bigger local firm, audited the central bank. The government, Honored Ambassador or Governor Talu, has done extremely well in providing macroeconomic stability for the country. So in terms of U.S. rate, in terms of inflation, you have seen the inflation number. When we took over in 2018, you saw what happened. As a result of the movement in the exchange rate between 2016 to 2017, Chala, you know what happened? The teaching of that money, the same money that the Senate and the Parliament probably condemned the past regime for, the movement in the currency led to every day there was $1 or $2 higher on the exchange rate, right? So in 2017, all other issue in 2018, all other issue affected the new government going forward. So all of these things are macroeconomic intervention. How did we manage to lift for inflation from 30% now in single digit? The magic. Through sound monetary policy from the central bank instituted.
Is it as a result of the advice of the IMF?
Oh, the IMF has played a part, but your ability as a government to accept and then put in control measures is important.
Because when I was checking, the Minister of Finance said before, because Liberia enrolls at the IMF program, part of the countries like Ghana, that's why the inflation went so high, and the president has to come to apologize to the people, let's go do that. So that's why Liberia stable, like they've been stable under George Weah.
True. The country is very stable. So in fact, there was a strategic meeting with the guys from World Bank, and he said within the region, people are playing magic. Despite the COVID, despite Ukraine war, your neighbors Sierra Leone pushing up to 12%, Ghana, Iran hitting 30%, 30 to 40%, Nigeria in a double digit. How are you managing? Because through the central bank or the past bank have taken a lot of decisions, quantitative easing or inflation targeting. These are strong economic tools that you use to curtail the US, the foreign exchange rate. Because central bank has said, it's no longer interesting to see how best we to move inflation from double digit to single digit. These are the remedies. So these are the magic that we have done. And we are where we are today.
You want to add to that? Then I want to go back and talk some simple English to the people.
Oh, sure. No, they want for the Mantiwa son.
Yeah,
we'll bring it back to Mantiwa.
Yeah, so let me hear from Benny.
So Jala, some of the real basis for the booming of the economy and the growth of the country will be infrastructural development. Those will be the real basis. Look, the auditors will need job. The people who do management will need job and everything else, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of jobs will come from industrialization. A lot of jobs will come, and for there to be serious industrialization, there must be a good distribution and adequate availability of power, electricity. There must be road connectivity so that people will be able to reach out and get produce and begin to transform them into usable items. Take for example, in Liberia here, we don't imagine we had Firestone producing the rubber wood. The rubber wood was becoming available on the market, and all of a sudden they start producing it.
Furniture was being produced.
Yeah, furniture was being produced. Now it's rubber wood furniture.
And everyone was going for it.
So now it's going on a lower scale.
Why is it that
reason? There's likely because probably the cost of production and the other environment will make the prices high, and eventually you will not have many local buyers. So whenever there is adequate electricity, affordable electricity, the cost of production is lower, and then you can also be able to have local buyers as well as produce more and put it on export for our neighboring and other countries. Okay. But the backbone, like I said, is for there to be infrastructural development. And that backbone is almost like the foundation that we're trying to build for the economy to be solidified. And that is what the president is doing very well, expanding road connectivity, distributing electricity, making it affordable. And there are even more sources of electricity that are being sorted right now. You hear about other dams projects that are being engaged. Sooner or later, we will have Liberia producing a lot more energy, and there will be a suitable environment now for more industrialization. So you won't hear the guys from our cathedral, you won't hear them talking about bread and butter issue. You know, sometime 2018, 2019, when they get on the radio, the only thing they will say, oh, they have to address, they're not addressing the bread and butter issue. They're not addressing the bread and butter issue.
But if the government fixed a rule from Sanakoli to Ganta, where the guys were not in bringing a produce to Monrovia, and it reduced the cost of transportation, I think it's another way of
those are the bread and butter issues.
It reduces the expenditure.
So that's what I'm saying. Now that these bread and butter issues are being addressed, they have nothing to say. The woman from down Wadaza buys her little pearl fish. She caught a little piece. She cook it for today. She keep the other one in the freezer. That fish that she can keep it for 3, 4, 5 days.
Absolutely.
You know. Otherwise, she dry it. But now she got electricity. Yeah, she got electricity. A lot of families right now cooking food for 2, 3 days.
Yeah.
You know,
3 days soup.
Yeah, of course. 3 days soup. Are those not bread? Electricity is bread and butter issue.
Of course.
So road connectivity is bread and butter issue. So now you're not hear the guy saying, oh, you know, we're gonna address bread and butter issue, because they know that these bread and butter issues are being addressed. What you hear them saying right now is they put on one banner. How are you going to print a banner? You know, you're running campaign. A serious banner you print and say you want kush. The president bringing kush. Doesn't make sense. Oh, government bringing kush, but government arresting itself. The government arrested consignment of drug at the airport. How will the government, you know, bring in drug and arrest her own drug that she brings in? You know, it doesn't make sense. So now that, you know, they are pushing this kind of small and cheap propaganda, the people of Liberia are now aware that these guys are exposing themselves. And the more they expose themselves, the more the wave will flow towards the CDC, and that is why we are optimistic that this first round victory is sure.
Okay,
there's nothing will stop it.
How do you communicate with the people in the lower part of Liberia who are not elected like you are, other people are? How does the message get to them? Okay, so there have been some engagement in the rural parts where community radio stations are being broadcasting the messages of peace and talking about the gains we made by the George Weah government. But if we were to speak to the people in Foya, the people in Bogonjide, the people in
Betu County,
in Sasta, how do you tell them these messages?
So,
in the simple way,
to simply put it, that when the president, your son, when he took over, all your people talking a lot, it was not fun in the first 1 year, but right now it's very fun. Even the way people who told he say the thing is doing the way he going, it's not correct. They didn't say right now seated in America. Quickly they say it's fun. At least he trying, and we continue on the road. Liberia will be jail America.
And I was happy when I heard that the World Bank is about 300. It's at 30 million or what for electricity expansion, a billion new hydro on the George Weah.
So I mean, a lot of things are happening, and even my friends who have been complaining from the Broadway belt, I mean, across District 17, I mean, the Broadway is lighted. So, like rightly Benny said, you cannot move any economy without electricity. We are very successful. People are now having stable electricity. Some areas, I mean, they're looking down there, tell you the light doesn't back, because when the Minister of Finance entered the studio, there was a difficult decision, and we took the decision to ensure that indeed we have the CFLG in addition to what we have at the hydro. We are building new dams. The Lofa Dam is under construction, and when all of these come together, we have to have more cover in the country.
Yeah, I was in Foya some months back, and I saw the guys running the wire from Vanjama area all the way to Kolahon going to Foya.
That's it.
That dam you're talking about?
The dam you're talking about. So in the next 2 to 3 years, it's okay. And there are being issue of the southeastern corridor, right? Oh, coastal highway. Chala, if you get 10 billion today, you cannot build a road. I mean, engineering perspective, according to engineers, the roads can be strong constructed within 5 months time. You have 5 months at least to work. So from here, from Ganta as far as Grenjide, Saklepi, Tapeta to Zweju Grenjide, funding has been secured to ensure that corridor is developed.
Okay.
There are conversations around the scene to take it from Zweju as far as Fishtown. Of most recent, the African Development Bank, the board was in country and funding has been secured from Basel as far as Fishtown. All of these are going to happen in the next term of His Excellency Dr. George Manneh Weah. So if somebody say the government is not performing, ask yourself, what was the budget? How can you say Chala is not improving? Chala first pay was 200, his new pay is now 600 for the food at 13 cents. You say Chala is not improving. So the new money that Jala has gotten, what extra economic activity has he done? He's saving, he's sending his children to school, he's ensuring he can release more construction. You say nothing happened. All of these good things you see, the president gave 100% waiver, free tuition, WAS fee, building hospital, sport parks. We have instituted some fiscal policy. That's why the IMF, you know how IMF works? No. They're not here for your politics. Jala, you call me, you have invited me to help you, right? I'm here, I'm seeing your salary. I'm seeing all your liabilities, current and non-current or long term. I'm seeing it. You have to make sure from today's date, you reduce your expenditure. If Jala was sitting on the boulevard, having a large beer or 2 large beer every day, times 5 at 10, Jala, you have to cut that 10 down. IMF is going to help you move the economy for Roma. And don't say the IMF should come and tell bigger countries around the world. The Ghanaian economy is far bigger than Liberia.
Far bigger.
So Ghana have to get back, was struggling.
And the president said the Ghanaian economy was in crisis. That's what he said.
Oh no, it was in crisis and they have to get back on the IMF program. So do not say that you cannot come back on IMF program. It's a big platform.
Now let me come to a bit, Benny. Then we can take few calls and call it quit. But now we are having domestic revenue generation is also helping because while we see that many of the roads being built around here, feeder roads or whatsoever, taxes collected from the Liberian people. Why is it that the taxes are performing well than it did before, when we had many of the monies coming to this country from international partners to build the economy better, and we didn't see all of these, and we're seeing it under this administration?
Jana, I will tell you because the money is now being spent well.
Okay.
The money is now being spent well. You know, before, government officials, you know, I mean, there were ministers and things making 25,000, 30,000, 15,000. They had discretionary authority to assign salaries to their secretaries, their drivers. Some drivers were making 5,000, 3,000, while other drivers making 100, 200, and so forth. The financial discipline, financial decisions that were taken for harmonization to occur, to reduce wasteful spending. The government right now is not dishing out huge crash card, gas leave, and all of that to employees. No, they're not doing that. So there's better financial exercise in place right now. And I can look at the Omar in Jitra district, you know, and tell her, Omar, look, before you get rice from your farm, there's a process. You have to first go ahead and fell some of the trees, cut down the bush and whatever it is. You have to burn the farm. Then before you can go ahead and start your planting process. And eventually you wait for the produce to come up and you know is ready for cutting. So it's a process. It's the same way the president or the government had used to establish a better society, to establish a more effective society where our economy will boom and so forth. The target is for us to move and have a lot of industries and a lot of where our people can say investors, right? Oh, why not investor? We are buying the country.
No investor.
So for you to have huge investment and huge industries in the country, gotta tackle the issues that the people look for, and those issues are power, those issues are road and so forth, and there's what drive the economy. So just as if you plan and saying that this country will boom, 3, 4, 5 years from now, today you have to start laying the foundation and setting the grounds that will enable that country to boom. So it's exactly what the president has been doing over time. Our people are experiencing it. Everything will not come so easy. We have to work hard as a people to get where we want to be. So it's a struggle, and that struggle is also an enjoyable struggle that Liberians are benefiting now, and the benefits will even be greater in the future.
Let's take a few calls, rather. Let's take a few calls. Let's have no mind to the people of Foya District for the loss of a kingsman. Francis Jusu, a teller from Foya District, is watching us, listening to us as well. Where's my Oma Kuma, who sells a Kobo right here on Foya Broad Street? Where's Mommy? Mommy, how you doing? I hope you all are doing well in that area. Anthony Tamapuyo is relaying the program on Radio Makona in Lofa County. Moses Giblet tells me that the entire county is listening. Maryland County is listening. They're welcoming the president. Welcome to the show, Mr. Aaron Zane. Madiba grandson Johnson is watching from the city's headquarters. I will take your call, so I'll just for 5 minutes. Call you a day on 080-514-096, 070-560-560. I have the two numbers to call me on. Welcome you on for 15 seconds. Please make your comment.
Who is it?
Good evening, sir. You have 15 seconds to make your case. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. This is Paul Sosa, a call from Zulu West.
Zulu West Grand Junior, welcome to Monrovia.
Thank you. I want to tell the opposition that they're saying that all this Eastern Road is bad. We have our bad road minister, which is back well. The night cover from Nimba County, the last time from 6 o'clock yesterday, before 10 o'clock, they were in Zulu West. And now, as we speak, the best in River G. So the bad road are being cut off.
Okay.
There is no more bad road again, and 1 year from now on, you'll see more changes will be done. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let me take the next caller. Welcome. Oh, he coming off. Please call back if you wish to call. If you call out, okay, the phone, just hold on. Let me take this one. Hello, welcome. Hello, you there? Caller, are you there? Oh, the caller dropped the line. Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome. Do you want to participate on the show? Hello, the next caller, welcome.
Welcome, Jala. Welcome to Colinas and Benny. This is Swen calling you from EWA.
All right, Swen.
So I'm following your conversation, and I think you guys have just nailed it so quite well. This president has done so much well, and I see desperation for our men on the other side. Because I think they have no message, right? Because every time you want to engage into some argument as to compare and do some comparative analysis, they wouldn't want to. They would only be talking about something that is sentimental. But let me just say that President Korea has rescued the civil servants more than any other person. He has he has saved civil servants from salary disparity or discrepancy. He has saved civil servants.
And that's the thing that is hurting the people. That the salary harmonization. You take a man making $22,000 US in this country as a head of maritime. Bianca said 22,000. You talk about the manager at the National Port Authority making 15,000. And Malan Salif and Joseph Baga called them special considerations, and they were justifying why did you pay them such a money. A business migration that
my brother, Today, the president has said no civil servant is making 150 below. Everybody is going up. Today, we have a central payroll. But I want to say that President Weah will go exactly.
Thank you.
Going to go one round.
Thank you. And I will come out and ask the economists here whether it's possible if, hold the line, in a worst case scenario, Joseph Boakai wins, whether they will increase salaries for people because they say, oh, when Joseph Boakai win, they will carry our salary back up.
Hello,
Can you imagine that? Let me take this guy. Hello, welcome. You can go ahead, McCullough.
Hello, Mr. Dara.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. I'm Maurice Dan joining from Tabata Nima.
Tabata Nima, welcome.
Thank you. You see, the opposition don't have anything to provide to the citizens. So, you see, the problem with us in Liberia, we, as a supporter to President Weah re-election in Nima, we are very peaceful. And even the new party supporters can sit back on motorbike, and I can sit on the motorbike, and also they can be disobedient. They are speaker. They will not speak anything.
Yeah, and as you live peacefully in that area, you shouldn't find a Nima and Lofa County people.
So for we the supporters of President, we are re-election. We are very peaceful, and let me just say we are already resolved.
Okay.
Because President Weah was not popular in 2017. He was not popular in Nima. But right now, any corners of Nima County, President Weah have people there. And now we are looking at the real thing on the board. So we have some people here that can read beyond the land. We are not people that people can just kind of laugh to, and just tell something why it's not happening.
Okay, thank you.
Yesterday, you think the president can come and say, you bring drugs, then the same time you ask the security to go arrest the drugs? So it's not true.
Thank you so much. You made your point, selling point there. I think we'll call it a quit now. That's how we're closing the Bon County people. Then we'll come to the guys for the party comment, and I want you to address our concern about the issue of the harmonization. This guy is called Jogbangman. The man said when there's love, the partners will be close together. But when there's no love, the bed becomes very big. Because the male will lay on one side, the other edge of the bed, the woman lay on the other side of the bed, so the bed becomes big. But when there's love, they come together, they rub themselves on the same blanket. Let's come to you, Colin. See, you want to address a particular concern to be as your party?
So, technically, it is not possible, except I know it wouldn't be for the United Party-led government to come back to power. But if they do, then they will leave the IMF program.
Okay.
Because
so this is the first program from the IMF. We cross the line on salary. You cannot move it anywhere. You cannot bring instability in the country to say Joseph Boakai say he wants to cut down the employee by 30,000. You can't do it. Except you want to say we'll not move on the IMF program. And they constrain if you don't want to go on an IMF program. So it means that you don't want to be on a direction for somebody and say, hey, this is a check.
You can, except they want to say they want to leave IMF. When you leave IMF, you know the consequences. But largely,
so again, under this arrangement that led to harmonization where we find ourselves now, where directors are making. But let me say this: in 2013,
Her Excellency Madam Ellen Johnson said it was mandated by the fund to ensure that the reduced payroll. She started, but she never had the political will. She never had the push to do it. Period. So we had the courage. Even the legislature agree that indeed we all have for the benefit of the country. That's why you see development going on. Or else compensation will have been up to 70% of national budget. Where we take development space come on. All of the on the salary. And we said no. We have reduced compensation to 45% of budget.
And before then, how much was it?
It was about 61.4%.
Now it's 41%.
So it's now 45.4%. So we have reduced
it ought to remain this way until maybe there's a jump in the economy where
it will remain there for a little while. We are focused on development. We have to ensure that macroeconomic stability is good. We have to invest in small and medium enterprises in this country. In the next 6 years, we are going to be the engineering of growth in any economy is the small medium enterprises. So if you're out there, SME, prepare your financial books. he receive funding, he receive support in the next distant future.
Okay, Benny, you are to close up.
So having said what the government continues to do, what they have done and continue to do, I'll close on this point.
Mm-hmm.
Our people should not accept and listen to the lies and be deceived. They should seek the sources of some of the information that these people passing around with through, reliable source. And on election day, October 10, we're looking forward to everyone being zealous enough to go to the polls and vote George Weah number 18. From the top down, you check 18, you will see George Weah there. The president is there with Madam Joy Howard Taylor. You will see them in beautiful blue garments. You should vote them. If you don't want to look so much, start looking from down. From down, you just look up a little bit, 3 step up. Start from the very bottom and check 3 step upward. You will see the president and Madam Joy Howard Taylor there. Vote number 18. Vote our president and Joy Howard Taylor. Vote the CDC-led government for a better future for our country. This is an important task because every single vote counts. Your one vote is what will transform that 49% into 50% plus.
Then thank
we
you.
Look forward to that first round victory.
Just in 30 seconds.
So it is important, as I know we're going to win, as we are voting His Excellency Dr. George Manneh Weah come October 10, all Seditians in reading and listening, you have to vote the appropriate lawmakers. It is important because all of the development we want to have, if we have a stronger house or a divided house where the opposition lawmakers are more, trust me, most of the good things will not come to pass. So vote one and vote all. Thank you.
His name is Cornelius M. Weah. He has been here with Mr. Benedict Tike, the conference professional for the re-elections of President George Manneh Weah. You heard from the economist what has been done by the Weah government to put the economy in a better perspective cannot be cannot be overturned by any government that comes in, whether it's a Cummins or George Weah or maybe the Joseph Boakai. I'm a program. Join me tomorrow for another fascinating discussion. My name is Jala Grayfield. I'm the nation's heavenly J. Remember Jala Grayfield chapter 1 verse 1. Let's talk and talk and talk and never shall we fight. I'm the son of a warrior. My name is Superwoman. Or you call me Kiang Balakmu. He dropped a bag of Kenya. Small boy cannot tow it on a big man. When he tows it on the sunny day, he knows how to carry it. If he carries it on the rainy day, he knows how to carry it. Have a good day from Monrovia. See you.